Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Wednesday night hobby hangout. Hope everybody's well. Hope you've all had a very uneventful Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, to be fair. Hope everything's going well. Let's see who we've got in the chat this evening. Peter Koeman, nice and early. Mark Wright said he's building some clan rats for AOS. Very nice, mate. We've got Blizzards as well. He's starting on these Ratkin and Goblins from the new Kings of War box. Are you happy with that, mate? Are you happy with what you got in that set? It looked pretty cool. Got Marcus in as well, who's making a photo box for a friend right now. A green screen photo box. Sounds interesting, mate. Tony Maceda, good evening, Tony. So is this just a painting session? Yeah, essentially, mate, it is just kind of like a community hobby hangout. Folks either sit and have a bit of chat. I'm going to be sitting painting a model from Super Fantasy Brawl. And you can kind of pick up some tips from that. But generally, we kind of hang out and we talk hobby, and it's just a way to get folks together and give them something to kind of focus on for one night of the week. We've got Horns fan in. Good evening, mate. He says, sweet, more Super Fantasy Brawl. I've got my set and hoping for some tips on how to paint them. I followed the video for the statues and they turned out fantastic. Thank you, mate. Yeah, I think that those statues turn out okay as well. They're not too bad. I'm glad that you found it helpful, mate. Christian, good evening, sir. How are you doing, mate? I saw that you've been getting some new dice. Looking very special, mate. Ortega's looking forward to the rerun. Hello, Ortega in the rerun. Robert Zunk said he's finally made it for a change. Nice to see you, Mr. Z. How are you doing? I hope you and your good lady wife are keeping well. Peter Mack, good evening, mate. Tucked away in your hotel room there. I see that you've got your light bulb now as well for your lamp. Yep, John Estel is just saying to Tony there what it's all about as well. Talking a bit of chat about and talking and life generally. Yes, it's kind of a mix. It's a bit more of a ramble on a Wednesday night. Peter says, hello, fellows. He should be painting these Noblars for his Ogre Warband. We've got Yokerman as well. Said he's painting Orcs tonight just because it's that time of the year. And maybe I'm trying to finish the army his son started 3 years ago. There's a bit of motivation for you, mate. We've got Ryan is in as well. Hello, Ryan. How are you? Luke Pryor saying, what's up? How's everyone doing? Tasty Brain Drain. Hello to you, mate. Jacob says, nice to take off early. Yeah, nice to get finished with earlier, mate. Yeah? Hello, Chris Dawes. Hope you're well too, mate. Hello to Glenn Seymour as well. Hanging out. Nice to see you. 2 streams in a row, mate. You'll be getting a nosebleed. Nice to see Jonathan Whiteborn as well. Hello, fella. Glenn said, anyone see the Warcry leaks for the Allegiance books? I have seen them, mate. Yeah, I have. No doubt we'll chat about them tonight as the stream goes on, but we'll catch up with that in a bit. Jacob said he's opening a new Kings of War starter now. Sounds like a few of you got it. Tony said he's going to do a bit of listening while he's priming some Super Fantasy Brawl by hand because the weather is rubbish. Yes, thank heavens for an airbrush, mate. Otherwise, I think I'd have been in the same situation. Blizzard's happy with that stuff. Luke said, have you played many games with your wife now? Any characters you particularly like how they work? We've not played a lot of Super Fantasy Brawl, mate, to be fair. We've been doing a lot of decorating at home. So our evenings have been sort of hanging curtains and putting mirrors up and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we haven't played a lot of Super Fantasy Brawl yet, to be fair. Busey saying, evening all, lighting looks good tonight. Yeah, I think I've finally got everything kind of set okay now, I think, made for these live streams. And obviously when we come to do the painting, we've got our nice little kind of painting set up here as well. So yes, I feel like I've kind of got a permanent setup here in the corner of the office now. I bought a load of cables I was talking about before. They've all been tidied, all put in the corners of the room. I need a little bit of white kind of cable tidy stuff just to mask them because there's black cables everywhere. But yeah, otherwise, all fab, mate. We've got Tim Kelly in as well. Hello to you, mate. We've got Nostock in as well. Hello. Frantic in. Hello again. Mark saying he's done a silly thing on Sunday watching West Ham Spurs, and when West Ham scored the equaliser, I had an open pot of null oil in hand and jumped and went everywhere. Oh, null oil's not the best to clean up either, mate, is it? Hello to Tony. How you doing, mate? Hello to Jeffrey Higdon as well. He's trying to brush on primer. I used to play games with a guy years ago who only ever brushed on primer, and yeah, I could never understand that. Compared to like an aerosol or an airbrush, brushing on primer he chose to do it. He said it was better to brush it on. Peter says he always hang the curtains with his wife as well. Got to get those priorities. You are so right, mate. You have got to get those priorities right. Luke saying, anyone like look of Darkest Dungeon from Mythic? Another I would recommend people to have a look at is the Townsfolk Trussell. Yeah, Darkest Dungeon's not really my kind of thing, mate. I've never played the computer game. I've got no kind of sort of feelings about the game or that. It's more to do with Mythic's got like 6 outstanding Kickstarters at the minute, and I don't like the fact that it's going to go to it's not going to retail, which means if I hang on long enough, the 1.5 version will fix all the problems that they'll no doubt release in 2 years' time. Robert says he's doing fine, work on Ghost Rider and some terrain for Crisis Protocol, staying out of the missus' way while she's decorating paint. Yeah, we've been doing work during the week, obviously, like my job and my wife's job, and then weekends we've been hitting the kind of the DIY and the decorating quite hard. But this weekend just gone, like my wife finished the wallpaper on the kind of the main wall in the living room, and I finished off all the gloss work and stuff. So then like the last couple of nights and stuff, it's been hanging there, hanging all the bits and pieces. Gnostic says, does anyone remember GW's Smelly Primer? I don't remember that, mate.
All right.
Barry saying howdy as well. Hello, mate. Mark says, why does Nuln Oil always seem to spill even when you're not using it? Yes. Yeah, and Luke saying the Mythic 1.5 is a sadly common thing to justify waiting for. Yes. Right, I think we'll crack on and we'll start the painting now. We've got a nice little group in. I'm going to show you folks what I painted last week, and that was Goldar. Let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see him, because I think at the end of the last stream he was definitely at that stage where I always talk about that bit where you go, oh god, I have ruined this. How on earth am I going to kind of like make this look better? But yes, this is where I got to last week. After the next morning, I finished this model off. So this was Goldar, and I'm quite happy with how he come out. Definitely giving him the black beard. I think when we left last week, he had a white beard because it was still primer, and he did look a little bit like Santa Claus with the red coat and the white beard. But yeah, the black beard's definitely pulled that one together now. And I also then went on and painted, I forget this name now as well, but you can see which one it is. No, the name escapes me now, but I painted this one. So and just had a bit of fun with it, really. I like those kind of like bits on the wings were never meant to be kind of like perfectly blended, if you like. I like to have kind of like definitive kind of lines between my blends and stuff. It's kind of cartoony style the way I paint anyway, so it kind of fits that style. And then I've also started painting Sulka as well. She's still got a little bit more work to go, but yeah, I'm kind of halfway through this one, so I'm cracking on with that one. But I'm not going to finish this one on the stream. I like to try and start with a kind of like a new model on the stream, and we start from scratch. So yeah, so that one's coming on as well. So tonight I couldn't decide between Dugrin, the Warden of the North, or Gwen here. I think I'm going to paint Gwen, because I think I'm going to keep Dugrin for a bit later on, I think. Or I might start on Dugrin if Gwen has to kind of wait for stuff to dry and things. So let me just zoom that out a little bit. Blizzards is saying there you had a bottle of Smelly Primer. Never had much use for it though. Looks in your style is a match made in heaven for these. Yeah, I'm happy with the way that the styles kind of turn out, mate. Right, so I think what I'm going to do is I don't have a purple paint actually. For some random reason, I don't seem to have purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own purple with a bit of Cantor blue and a bit of Corn red. And I want to paint her cloak in purple. So let's start there. Tim saying, loving the wings. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with how they panned out, mate. Tasty Printer says, both look awesome. Great job. Thank you very much. Horns fan saying they look really good. To be honest, mate, I mean, if you saw any of last week's Hobby Hangout, you'll know that certainly the point where I ended the stream, people will have been thinking, bloody hell, have I tuned in to see this Muppet paint them? But it's funny when by the time you kind of wash things over and then start to tidy up and start to pull things back together, it's amazing the difference it makes. No, I'm not a big fan in general of mixing my own colours, because you can guarantee if I need to mix more up, I'll never get it the same again. But just need to give that one a shake. Mark is saying this is why I use glue steel washers to the bottom of the bottles so they tip over less. Yeah, it's I I tell you what, I wish you could get. I wish you could get magnetic, like ball bearings to put in as like an agitator. And then what you could do is you could shake it to agitate them, and then if you put it down on a metal tray, the magnet would stop the bottle from falling over. I've just come up with that idea there. I'll just patent that. If anybody's thinking of stealing my idea now for Kickstarter. So let's get a bit of that blue and let's mix these two together. I might as well put this on camera while I'm doing it anyway, so at least you can see what I'm up to. Arquette, that's the one, mate. I couldn't remember the name. It is Arquette. I could not remember it. Lucy and Gwen is one of my early favourites. She's a glass cannon, but she can lay the smack in the game. I'm not sure if there's been much change since I was playing it quite a lot previously, but back in the day when I was first playing it with Az quite a bit. What's she called again? Oh, her name escapes me now. The hunter. I forget her name now. I'm looking at the model and I can't think what she's called. She was one of my favourites. She could dish out the damage as well. Luke saying nice to see Andy remembers his primary colour mixes. My little boy is obsessed with mixing paints together. So yeah, thank him really. He's probably the one that got me remembering that stuff. Tasty Rincher says you're welcome. Thank you. Good evening, Scott Longworth. How are you, mate? Nice to see you in tonight as well. Have you got much on the table tonight? Are you just chilling? Have you got a cheeky beer? What's your plans tonight, mate? Right, let me get a brush. A brush would be a good thing to start with. And then let's... if I put my little brush covers there, don't forget it. Horns fancies, I feel like mixing your own colours is like crossing the streams in Ghostbusters. It's exactly how people used to do it, mate. It's just we all got too lazy, and Games Workshop taught us all that you need to have 25 shades of the same colour and not mix your own colours. So anyway, let's get cracking on. Busey said, I like smelly paints, but after a while they do tend to get my head and chest a bit. To be honest, mate, I stopped using the pound shop primers for that reason. They are absolutely horrendous in smell. Like, yes, they're cheap, but my God, I'd rather pay the extra and not poison myself with the fumes that come off them. It's awful. Yeah, I couldn't stand the smell. So Horns fancy, and that's it. You're going to be rich if that's what I end up retiring on. Jonathan started working on his Fantasy Brawl minis as well. Like, it'd take a while to finish. Yeah, I think it'll take me a while to finish as well, mate. To be honest, I mean, you all know that I get sidetracked between 25 different projects, which is why I'm trying to kind of like plow on with these ones. I want to try and, by the time I can actually start playing people outside of my house, like be outside of people who live in my house, I mean, I'd like to try and have them all painted. So at this rate, I've got plenty of time before that happens. So yeah, there's very few kind of box sets that I've bought over the years where I've actually managed to paint all of the contents. So my intention is that this will be one of them. That's kind of weird. It's like there's a trim. So you can see there's definitely like a ridge to that trim on the side there, and then it just kind of disappears. I think what we'll do is we'll just paint the trim to the front edge, I think, and we'll keep it the same on both sides. Paul saying, use stainless steel ball bearings and a magnetic sheet. Yeah, you could do that, mate, couldn't you? There you go. You're trying to get half my royalties now, mate. Is that what it is? How are you doing anyway, mate? How's tricks with you, Paul? Carla's in tonight as well. Hello, Carla. John saying that's a Kickstarter right back. BlackJack's painting hacks. I might even steal that name as well, mate. A steel ball and stainless steel plating. Peter says that's why we're here, to help you remember names, Dreadfleet, and always your dance routine. Speaking of dance routines, I said my next bit of on-screen and on-stream boogie will be when I hit 10,000 subscribers, and I was thinking that's going to be quite some way off. I haven't got to worry about that one. People will forget before that happens. But actually, it's things are moving quite quickly at the minute. I'm getting a bit of an influx of subscribers at the minute, and I think I'm only about 35 subscribers away from 9,000 now. So yeah, that's creeping up pretty fast. So my absolute kind of wish is that I've got a live stream coming up on Monday the 2nd of November, and the 2nd of November is my 4 years of doing YouTube, my 4-year anniversary. So I would love to have hit 9,000. I would love to hit 10,000, but that's not going to happen. I would love to hit 9,000 just before that live stream. That would be a nice little anniversary present to myself. So fingers crossed. Nostock saying BlackJack just caught up with the chat. I caught up before, mate, but then obviously I start talking and people start chatting. It takes me a little while to catch up with the chat. But if I caught up with the chat, I wouldn't be doing a lot of painting, would I? I'd be constantly just talking to you lot. Tony saying there, I think you need to get good quality ones. Yeah, I bought some which were meant to be good quality, and then they rusted in the bottoms of my paints, which, as you can imagine, I was not best pleased about, especially in the lighter colours, because it leaves a bit of a brown stain. The darker ones you can kind of get away with it, but yeah, I wasted some paints from what I was told were stainless steel when I bought them, and obviously they weren't. So disappointing orbals. I'm just getting over there and tidy that a little bit. Scott Longworth says he's painting more of his 3D printed Vikings and enjoying nice Lindisfarne mead. I don't think I've ever had a Lindisfarne mead, mate. I keep hearing people talk about that stuff. In fact, I don't think I've ever had mead. God, makes me sound like a heathen, especially being so close to Lindisfarne. Yeah. There was somebody else I know who used to always drink mead. Like whenever they went to gaming weekends and stuff, they always took a bottle of mead with them. And I forget who it was now. It might have been... Was it Nick Williams? It might have been Nick Williams. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're well, mate. Are you working? Are you on your days off at the moment, Scott? James on, good evening to you, mate. How are you, sir? Thank you very much for coming into the Madhouse tonight. Luke said he's playing Super Fantasy Brawl on the new Zatu Twitch channel tomorrow night with Nick Welford. And then I have a game night on Friday, either Root or more Chaos Neo World. You get yourself about, mate, don't you? Bloody hell. You get yourself about that. That's what I like to see. Bit of networking. Marcus said it's fine making this green screen box. It's the second one I've made recently, but I think I'd rather be painting. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. But just think of the nice favour you're doing for a friend. You'll be rewarded, mate. What's that? Somebody, did I completely miss that? Chris Franca, thank you very much for pledging on Patreon. I don't know why I never heard it come up, but it flashed up on my phone there from Patreon. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. For those that don't know, that this is how I pay the bills. This is my full-time job, and Patreon is how I pay the bills. So thank you very much for your pledge. Where are we up to? Dave saying, you reckon Halfords are going to branch their paints to cater for miniatures painting? I think they already have, made, to be fair. I always buy my primer, my aerosol primer from Halfords, and I have done for years. A little known kind of thing is that they do camo paints, which sounds stupid, but they do them in like kind of like a khaki and a brown and a greeny colour. And the khaki and brown are absolutely fantastic. I used the khaki for Star Wars, for my for my Rebels rather. I used it on my Star Wars Legion terrain. I used the brown and then the khaki as a Zenithal for my Warcry terrain. It's they're really good paints. They cover fantastic. Right, what am I going to do with this purple now? Do I want to take it anywhere else? I think I'm going to try and get inside here. But I think what we'll do is we'll do the best job we can, and then we can always tidy up any mess if we do it first. Where are we up to? Jason, this is why people paint in sub-assemblies. Just try and get those bristles under the cloak near the base. Do you know what it is, mate? I'm a firm believer of if the brush can't touch them, the eye won't see them, and that's why I tend to use a bit of I tend to use washes and stuff, because the wash will just run into the recess and stuff and just darken it down anyway. So I ain't too worried about that kind of stuff. But yeah, we can, as long as I can get something in there. It'll be dark enough. It's another reason why I do Zenithal priming as well. But it'll be dark enough that I won't really care. So, and then yeah, we'll throw a wash in there as well and darken it down a bit further. Paul says, "How's tricks? I live in Manchester. I think it's best to just leave it at that. A lot of anger around here at the moment." I can imagine, mate. Yeah. I can imagine. I've been watching it with interest on the news, because I think it was I did think it was only a matter of time before we would follow as well, but it appears that we might have escaped it, to be fair. So Paul says his man of things by painting some infinity, trying to improve his technique for black armor. So from what I understand, I'm not a big I'm not the best painter in the world to be giving you tips and stuff, but yeah, from what I understand, painting black armor, the one color you should never use is black, and I wouldn't mind giving that theory a bit of a test at some point. But yeah, apparently you should never use black when you're painting black armor. Right, so that is the purple for the robe. I think what we'll do is, we'll go with the orange, I think, to kind of to trim that robe out and the nice bit down the back as well. Purple and orange always go nice together. Tim says, "I was expecting some body popping for $1 million." I tell you what, Tim, you're showing your age there, mate, talking about body popping. Dave says, "I've got a question. Painting using Vallejo metal colour paints is not painting in non-metal colour, right? That would be using Vallejo metal colour. Does have bits of metal in it. So, non-metal painting is when you use paints that aren't kind of like silvers or gold. You use kind of like sort of blues and whites and like oranges and reds and browns and blend them together basically to make them look like metal. It's let me just hit this up a little bit. I think it can look really good. It almost has to be faked because it needs to look good. Excuse me. It needs to look good from one direction. Otherwise, it looks a bit weird. And I think it ends up just being something to kind of show off skills. Really, it's definitely like an acquired taste, if you like. For me personally, I wouldn't. I just put the metallic paint on, mate, or wash over the top and highlight it up a little bit. I tend not to worry about kind of like the more technical aspects of painting. But yeah, for those that are good at it and really want to push the boundaries a bit. Yeah, the non-metallic metal painting is a bit more of an advanced skill, I would suggest. So, where else are we up to here? What brand were the BBs? Too risky to say. I can't remember, mate. I think I bought them. I think I bought them off eBay. To be fair, mate, they weren't like a company's brand or anything like that. But I specifically bought them because they said they were like stainless steel, whatever it is, such and such 16th stainless steel, and I can't remember what the number is, but I remember it from my days being a sparky and an engineer, getting the right bolts and stuff, so they didn't rust. Scott 26 days off, nice one, mate. Enjoy. Dave saying, by the same token, isn't painting using GW lead belcher not painting in non-metallic metal because it does have bits of... Yes, you're completely right, mate. So basically, essentially, as I said before, non-metallic metal painting is basically avoiding all of those metallic paints, avoiding the silvers, the golds, the bronzes, all that kind of stuff, and it's making it look metallic and reflective, just blending paints and highlights and that kind of stuff. Mark says, is this Saturday we can pre-order Warcry? It is this Saturday, mate. 10 o'clock this Saturday. If anybody is thinking of ordering it and they want to get 20% off, you can order it from Goblin Gaming in the UK. And if you order through my affiliate link, I make a small commission, which is another way that I help to fund this channel without it costing you any more money. So, but obviously, if you have a local gaming store, please do support local, especially at these times when they need all the help they can get. Horns fan says, yes, that was my Patreon. You're welcome. Happy to support you. Thank you very much, Chris. I'll try and remember now. Horns fan. So what's the Horns? I'm hoping you're going to say you're an LA Rams fan, but something tells me that those won't be the Horns that you're a fan of. Let's see how far off I am. Christian sharing the link there for the Patreon. Thank you very much, mate. Tasty Brain Joanne saying, mead is amazing. I absolutely love it. So what is mead? Is it honey? Am I in my head? I'm thinking honey mead. Is that what it is? Because I do like Jack Daniel's honey, which is rather tasty. So, or am I a million miles off with that? Mark says, when it comes to any alcohol, I would not know since I do not drink at all. I've really cut back mine, I must admit, Mark, since I had that month off to try and kind of lose a little bit of weight and stuff. I've had a complete month off, and since that month, I think I've had a bottle of wine with my wife that we drank one night, and I must admit it wasn't like easy drinking kind of thing. I felt like I was having to force it down, and I had a couple of beers, I think, at the weekend, a couple of cans of beer, but that's as much as I've drunk since. And certainly at the minute, I'm not obviously with like lockdown stuff and that. I can't go to the pub with friends or anything like that. So you can only go with people from your household, and having like a 4-year-old doesn't mean me and my wife go to the pub. So yeah, I'm trying to stay away from drinking in the house. It got a little bit too easy when the lockdown was on the first time. So I'm trying to avoid drinking too much at home. Not because I'm kind of getting drunk, more because I'm just piling the weight on. Right, we'll tie that up with the purple afterwards, so don't worry about it not being perfect. That's one thing I do want to kind of show on streams and stuff as well, is you don't have to be absolutely perfect when you're painting stuff. Like, you can always tidy them up. Just get the base colours down. If you're putting a wash over them, half the time the wash is going to hide a multitude of sins as well. But yeah, you can always go back and tidy them up. The important thing is just getting those colours down to start with. If anything, I probably shouldn't be painting it right now because that purple's still wet, but I think that's why I'm getting a bit of blending over it. So this is actually a Wild Rider red that I'm using here. This tends to be what I tend to highlight my red up to, because I think red really looks nice, kind of highlighted up to almost an orange. So I'm just using this as the base coat for the orange, and then what I'll do is when I do come to highlight it up, I'll highlight it up to a Troll Slayer or a Fire Dragon bright orange. Where else we at? Tony says the late Mrs. H bought some earthenware mead cups. They're lovely little things that need honouring with a Christmas mead. Oh, can you get like a specific Christmas mead? Maybe that's the mead that I'll treat myself to and try. It's my birthday coming up soon, so yeah, maybe I'll treat myself to a birthday bottle of mead on your recommendation. Paul says start with black primer, but using 3 stages of grey highlights. Yeah, I would suggest using grey primer is probably the best way. Black primer. I saw a really good way of doing it. I'm not sure if I ever tried to save it. It was on. I think I read it on Twitter. It was like a stage by stage. Somebody took photographs, and it was basically just like kind of dry brushing, and then washing it down with a null wash, and dry brushing it again, and with like a lighter grey, and then washing it down. And it was a really, really effective thing when it finished, and it was super simple to do. And I can't remember if I saved it somewhere. I'll have to try and dig it out and give the person the credit for it if I can still find it. Maybe I kind of like save it. Can you save tweets? I think if you can, maybe that's what I did. God, I sound like a proper old man, don't I? Can you save tweets? Do you print them off and put them in a file? Tiberius says never buy your black socks from a non-priest shop. They'll shove you down. A non-priest shop. I think I just get mine from Next, mate. Tony says, yeah, 2 rules. Never use black as a base for black armor and never use white for white armor. Yeah, it's funny how little you actually use white when painting white. Or certainly you shouldn't. Apart from when I painted my Stormtroopers, I found that actually like, looking at reference material for them, they're so white and they always reflected so much light. There wasn't a lot of like sort of shading on them. There wasn't a lot of shadow. So what I did was I just pretty much just painted them white and kind of left them like that. And it seemed to more like represent Stormtroopers as I remember seeing them, rather than trying to paint them more realistic. And I was really happy with how they kind of turned out. So. That's definitely a bit wet. Peter says, yeah, painting non-metal metals, find a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Yeah, you're not wrong there, mate. Jason, yeah, thanks for the confirmation. Therefore, I think that non-metallic metal painting is something for the likes of Rembrandt. I honestly see it as a way that somebody shows off how good a painter they are. That's kind of how I see it. That people do it almost just to kind of test their skill, as opposed to actually it looks better or anything. It's a taste thing, I think. Try and keep this on camera as well while I'm doing it. Yeah, this is going to need a little bit of tidy up here, but we'll get there. Because you can see, this is not getting the greatest of coverage at the minute. I'm just putting that first coat on. Sometimes if I'm going to layer it up with a few layers, I don't always I'm not even always that worried about getting a perfect coverage. Because if I'm going to wash it down or something and then layer it back up again, sometimes that's enough. Right, let's just get in here a little bit. And I think what we'll do is we will paint the rim of that with the orange, and then when that's dry we'll come in and fill the centre with the purple. I'm literally winging this, folks, to be honest. I have absolutely no plan in my head of how it's going to look. I'm just kind of winging it, really. So if it looks like a disaster at the end, then that was because I didn't plan ahead. Right. She got boots on or something. It looks like she's got kind of like metallic. I think we'll go with like bronzy armored boots, I think. I think the bronze rather than gold might go better with the orange and the purple. Marcus is saying, yeah, non-metallic paints to fake a metallic look. Looks a huge pain. I tried it once. Yeah, I think it definitely feels like something that you're just showing off skills. William Jones, good evening, mate. How are you doing? You said, I don't understand the fascination of non-metallic painting. I don't care about it. Yeah, it's definitely definitely an acquired taste. John Hedges, hello to you, sir. Says it's a no-go as I'm colourblind. I once accidentally painted pink Deathwing Terminators and took them to school to show off. Nothing wrong with that, mate. Nothing wrong with that. James Zom, good evening, mate. He's saying all over the new Warcry set. The last couple of days I've been up and down about it, about whether I'm going to buy it or not, but I probably still will. Marco's painting Space Marine heads tonight. Good evening, Marco. Tony saying non-metallic metal is great for photography, but it doesn't work in real life. I agree. It only works in one direction because it's as if light is hitting it from a certain direction. So you have to have it you can take a photo of it, but as soon as you turn the model, you go, well, that doesn't look right. Horns fan saying, no, he's in Texas, so he's the Longhorns, a college team in Austin. Lifelong Dallas Cowboys fan, for better or worse. Mostly worse. Yeah, I would agree with him, mostly worse, especially recently, mate. It's America's team, though, isn't it? So there you go. You're all right with that. Oh, excuse me. Paul's here. Mead is essentially honey wine. I thought, in my head, honey rang a bell there, so... Scott's saying Mead's honey wine. It's also the oldest alcohol recorded in history. Yeah, it was kind of made by monks, wasn't it? I seem to remember. Yeah, honey wine. Scott said he brews his own. He's currently brewing 30 bottles of spiced mead. Wow, mate. I got a beer making kit for Christmas off my wife, and I still haven't done it. Purely because I didn't have any bottles to put it into yet. And I know that's a poor excuse, but that's the reason I've not done anything with it yet. Right. Let's get a little bit of that purple. I'm going to use a smaller brush, I think. Where's the one I want? There it is. JD honey's good, but as much as I love bourbon, I actually prefer Crown Royal honey. They don't make it anymore. The JD honey one is the only one I'd ever really tasted, mate, to be fair. So that was why I tried that one. And like a heathen, you could buy it in cans. You can buy Jack Daniel's honey and lemonade in a can, like a pre-mix thing. And that was where I tried it first. And it was so nice, I then went straight and bought a bottle of it. So, yes, I do like a bit of bourbon, a bit of whiskey. But I must admit, I don't, like I said before, but not drinking at home. I've got a few really nice bottles of whiskey that either I've bought myself or people have bought for me for gifts and things. Like when I started doing this full time, my wife bought me a nice bottle of whiskey as a gift to kind of say sort of congrats and good luck kind of thing. And I've not even opened it yet. So yeah, I might have to have a little tipple when I get to 9,000 subscribers. Maybe that's how I'll celebrate. I'll have a little tipple of my celebratory whiskey. Right, I'm going to check a reference picture because I saved one. Let me have a quick look. How do I want to do it? I think what we'll do is, yeah, I think we'll keep going with this purple, and we'll do it onto these kind of shoulder, these kind of hip parts here, and we'll stick with the orange around the edges. I think in the original kind of picture, it's more of a yellowy gold around the edges, but I think we'll lighten it up a little bit. Let's get it on camera. We'll lighten it up a bit. It won't be as dark as this, and then obviously we'll lighten up this purple as well with a highlight. So, but at the minute we're just getting those base colours down, just trying to fill in the blanks, painting by numbers kind of thing. Where are we up to? Tony saying, yeah, mead is something that I drink as a liqueur in a small cup and sip it. So is it pretty strong? Like when you're saying like mead is honey wine, I mean, is it like 20% type? Is it like 14% like a bottle of wine? Is it more like a fortified wine? Or is it getting up there with like spirits up at 40%? I guess the fact that Scott's making 30 bottles of it, maybe it's not like 40% proof. Or maybe it is. I don't know what your drinking habits are, Scott. Blizzard saying he loves these Kings of War ratty sprues. Each one comes with a teapot. Does it really? Marcus and Horns fan, you're not too far from me, right next door in Louisiana. It's nice to see some international flavour amongst the community. Always good to see. Where are we? We're gonna put a little bit of purple into here, I think. Across here. And for those kind of new to painting or just kind of watching for any tips or anything like that, the key bit here is like don't be frightened to kind of just to get some colour in there. You can always tidy it up later. Like I'm not being the neatest here, but I'm intentionally not being that neat because I'm not worried about it. I'll tidy it up later, kind of thing. So, and that's what I want to try and show with these streams. Really, is just you don't have to be an expert to end up with like a half decent job. You can as long as you can kind of poke the brush in the right places. Like being neat, really, like at the end is probably the most important part. And that's one of the reasons I really like contrast paints. But one of the reasons I feel that they're not like this kind of savior thing for new painters is you need an element of brush control to make them work like to the best of their ability. And I think like for a brand new painter, you're probably actually better off just trying with proper paints and using contrast paints once you've kind of got a little bit more practice. Because the problem with contrast paints is if you make a mistake, they're not easy to go back and rectify that mistake, so you have to be really neat with them. Unless you're using them as like a wash or something like that. But yeah, you have to be pretty neat with them. I do like them, but they're not some magic paint for beginners. Horns fancy I used Incubi Darkness from Citadel for Malaclip's armour on Chaos Space Marines with a dark green edge highlight. Worked really well. Nice, mate. I like the sound of that. So then, Horns fan, my latest Patreon. Welcome to the. I hope you've managed to check out the Discord group as well. You should get a link for that now that you're a Patreon. There's also a number of because you pledged at the $5 level there's a number of podcasts as well that are exclusive to Patreons at $5 and above. So there's a few podcasts there that you can catch up on as well if you ever feel that you want a bit of background painting. So how did you discover the channel? When did you check out the first videos? But was it the Warcry? Not Warcry, sorry. Was it the Super Fantasy Brawl statues, or was it something else, mate? Welcome aboard, and thank you very much for your support. Marcus is saying the big thing about armour is making sure that you finish with a low gloss sealer at the end to help keep the shine. I always kind of forget to use any sealers and stuff. I don't think I've ever really sealed any of them. I think the only models I've sealed in all my years of painting have been my Kings of War ones, and the reason I did that was when I flocked the bases with the snow, I used a clear, like a matte sealer, a matte varnish, just to really kind of hold down the snow flock. That's the only reason I've ever done that. So I've gamed for years. It's not like all the paint's rubbed off all my minis or anything like that. I've never really had any issues. So maybe I'm just either I don't play it often enough, or I'm maybe not that heavy-handed. But yeah, I've never like glossed or varnished my minis. tidy up those few bits. That's looking a little bit tidy, a little bit down the inside there. So, folks, what's people looking forward to at the moment? There's a few things coming up on the horizon at the minute. Obviously, we've got the Warcry stuff coming up this weekend. There's Kings of War Armada coming in November. We've got a few things on Kickstarter at the moment. We've obviously got the season 2 of Blood Bowl coming in November, I think it is. Has people got their eye on anything going on the Christmas lists? Or are you happy with what you've got at the moment and working through maybe some new 40k armies or playing a bit new Kings of War sets, anything like that? Let me know what you're all up to. Let me scroll down a little bit here. Paul said I'm going to sound even older, and then it jumped off my screen. Let's have a look. So even though I don't use Twitter at all, a bit like Facebook, but with all the useful features removed. Yeah, I to be honest, I use Twitter sparingly. I use it to chat with friends, but I tend not to use it as like a news site like a lot of people do. They seem to get their daily news from there, to be fair. Right, while I'm letting that dry, I think we will. I don't want to do the skin tones just yet. Oh, we'll do that orange. Chris says, can you tilt the model cam up a couple of inches? I can, mate. Let me just there we go. I'll just zoom a touch. We'll get to hear these bits here. Where are we up to? Phil says, college football fascinates me. The largest stadiums in the world bearing a couple of silly ones, and it's an amateur sport. I think the difference over in the States with like college football is because you don't have like lower leagues like we have in like, so when it comes to kind of like English football, there's no kind of championship and Division 1 and Division 2 and like all the non-league stuff. So the college leagues are essentially, or the college games are essentially the like the more accessible stuff, because obviously there's only a certain amount of NFL teams or NBA teams or whatever the sport is, and they tend to be more accessible for people to go and watch. The other side of it as well is obviously they don't have the kind of transfer markets like we do as well for buying new players. It's they trade between teams, but then obviously there's the draft system as well to bring in players from college teams. I'll tell you what, the lighting is awful there to try and get into that bit. So that's where the stars of the future are coming from, really. So yeah, it's a bit of a different thing to what we're used to. I quite like the way the draft system works. A little bit there. A little bit there. Right, that's that so far. I think what we'll do is we'll use that bronze. And I like to use, if I can find it, where is it on my shelf? Not Balthasar Gold, Warplock Bronze. Everyone of them. Oops, sorry. Tyrese and Rod Stewart is profoundly colourblind. He said he once flocked a grass area on his railway layout bright red. A bit more chat there about metallic paints as well. Yeah, they're much better to weather. Yeah, I agree with that, mate. Paul says, what's your favourite whiskey? I quite like Lafroig. It's probably my favourite, mate. John Hedges says he prefers Irish, Jamesons and Bushmills. Peter says yes. First don't drink for a month or two and then celebrate with a bottle of whiskey. Come back and dance. Wow, is that how far behind I am? 40.5% it is. Beauty said he bought a set of socks a few years back that were labelled Monday to Sunday, worst idea ever. My little boy's got pants like that and he won't wear them for nursery if they got the wrong day on. VG's on his last leg of his run. Nice one, mate. He's saying there, non-metallic metal is just a flex. I agree, mate. Marcus is saying, don't forget to drop a like. Thank you very much, mate. Paul says, what time on online sellers like Zato or Firestorm games have the Warcry on Saturday? They all go up for pre-order, mate, at 10 a.m. So it doesn't matter where it is, whether it's Games Workshop, whether it's Goblin Gaming, whether it's Zato, anybody else. Everybody is 10 a.m. They all have that exactly the same time. Actually, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use a Balthazar Gold. There you go. Jason Mickley. Hello, Jason. He started to watch when we had the Hellboy demo way back. Wow, that was a little bit back, wasn't it? Chris is saying there, thanks, Annie. I've been in the streams I could make for a while, maybe a year or so. Watching the videos later when I couldn't. Probably should have thrown you a bit of support. You're supporting by watching as well, mate. And the other side of it is, and I appreciate, like, people are wary of Patreon and stuff like that, and they think like, well, why should I kind of support? You know, like these people are just doing it. It's their hobby. Why do they deserve any money for it and that kind of stuff? And I completely get all those kind of things. But also, before you want to give anybody any money or any support, you kind of want to know that they're going. Well, one, they're going to kind of stick around. They're going to be here after you support them. You want to know what what's their content about. You want to know all those things. So there's never any kind of I never expect anybody just to kind of watch me once and then support. But yeah, the difference for me basically is the stuff I'm doing is, I said before, I do this full time. It's my job, and I don't do any kind of paid content, no paid reviews, no sponsored content, and it keeps me independent. It means when prices, like when I found out the price for the Games Workshop stuff, I could talk about it on my live stream. There was no kind of conflict of, oh well, if I talk about it, they won't send me any new stuff or any of that kind of stuff. Like a lot of the, like there'll be a load of channels this Saturday will have all of their Warcry unboxing stuff up. You know, all the ones that get it sent it early and stuff. By not getting involved with that kind of side of things, it means I can talk about leaks like the Warcry leaks that we've just seen the last couple of days or the last day or so. We can talk about them kind of things because I'm not worried about being sort of held by companies like Games Workshop for the sake of a few bits of free plastic. So, although to be fair, the prices of some of their stuff now are free plastic's almost like gold. So maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. Phil saying Death God Codex. Yeah, that's not too far away, mate. Is that December it's coming, is it? Or is it even earlier than that? It might even be next month. Krabby's in as well. Hello, Crabster. How are you doing, fella? Your display board stuff that you're working on is looking absolutely fantastic. I think it was yesterday, I was kind of looking through all the pictures and giving them the thumbs up. It's really, really come on, mate. I love seeing other people's work like that, where you see like those work in progress stuff, because it's great seeing somebody's finished project and seeing how good it is. But it's a bit like these painting streams. It's seeing all the mess ups and the corrections and seeing all the work that goes into it behind the scenes to get to that stage. That's the bit I like to see. You can learn more from the work in progress than you do from the finished model. So, yeah, keep it up, mate. I'm enjoying looking at those. Yoakum said he started to use varnish over contrast paints because I think they rub off quite easy. Yeah, somebody else has told me that as well, that they use it over contrast paints because they don't adhere quite so much. I'm assuming it's just because they're quite thin. I don't think I've actually done that many models with just contrast. I'll have to go back and check really, because maybe some of those could do with a bit of varnish over them. Then put in some of this armor with Balthazar Gold. PC saying evening the 40k master at Krabby there. Yes, my resident 40k expert when I need a 40k perspective, he's the man I turn to. Blizzard says looking forward to Armada and Diagasm. I don't think I know what Diagasm is, mate. Tell me what that is. Where should I be looking for more information on that? Who makes it? Tony's got his mini swap madness for painting on the new Warcry core warbands when they release for a Christmas present to himself. Yeah. I like seeing the stuff that you decide to paint, mate. It's always nice to see, because I love the way that you're not constrained by, I'm only painting stuff I'm going to play with. Which means you have a whole world of various different minis, which is great. Peter says, I think if I buy something else now, it'll be scenery to expand the games I have, or the menu would be kings for some Anglo-Zulu war action, or Pendragon ancient Greeks. Nice one, mate. Let me scroll back now and see where I'm up to there. Oh, there it is. Tasty Brain Drain says, really looking forward to... You're going to make me try and say that now. Sukayumi, a friend of mine, backed it on Kickstarter for a gaming group. Should be shipping in December. This is the problem when I tip up the camera a bit, it starts to focus on the pots of paint. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tip it back down a touch, and I'll adjust how I'm painting. I need to get like a background for when I'm painting. I was just talking to my missus about that today. I need to get a background for it, so that basically it always focuses on the model. Where are we up to? Crabby, see what we're chatting about then. He's on the red wine, so should get a bit wild. I expect to hear your dulcet tones coming through the northeast airwaves, mate. We're just random rambling, mate, to be fair, at the minute. I was just asking what people are looking to pick up. Have you got your eye on any 40k stuff, Crabby? Any of the reveals that's come out so far? Which of those things are you looking to get? Have you bought any more Necron stuff? Did you pick up both codexes, or have you picked up the Space Marine codex? Let me know what where you're up to, mate. Mark's in his missus got him Warcry for his birthday, which is in January. I'll order it on Saturday. Nice one, mate. Busey, you before you. Robert Duncan, he's bought in a recent Blood and Plunder Kickstarter, added to his pledge to Elia Chronicle, so pretty broke. Yeah, I tell you what, mate, it's an expensive hobby. This hobby, isn't it? I mean, I know a lot of hobbies are expensive. It's not just this one, but when you're like, I mean, one thing I would say about like the community that kind of come around this channel and come and watch my ramblings, they tend to be players of like lots of different games in general. I mean, or at least appreciate lots of different games. And I know like everybody says like sort of Games Workshop's expensive and 40k is expensive and all that kind of stuff. But I tell you what, if you only play a 40k and you only play one army, it ain't that expensive in the grand scheme of things. Not compared to what I spend on stuff. And I'm sure what most of you spend as well. It's all relevant. Or all relative, I should say, not relevant. It's all relative. Alright, I think we'll give her a bit of a golden belt there as well. So all I'm doing, folks, I'm just blocking in these main colours. We'll put a wash over the top of it just to kind of blend it all together, and then we'll, like I always do, we'll then highlight it back up, and kind of that's when we start to give it a little bit more of a three-dimensional feel. Because sometimes just blocking in like base colours like this can make it look really flat. So we just paint in these bits. Marcus says college football is also about the old school rivalries and the way that home team can be the hometown team. Same can be said for most Texans in high school football. Yeah, I think what happens is, and another reason that there's a bit of a difference is because you get franchises in like NFL and stuff. You know, money talks, and your local team can be bought and moved across the country to somewhere completely different. Like for example, like my team, the Rams. You know, they were in St. Louis. They were in LA originally. Then they were in St. Louis. Then they moved back to LA again. So they can just be picked up and moved basically. But with college teams, I think people support the college that they went to, or they support the college that their kids go to, or they support their local college, and they're much more kind of like community, a little bit more like football teams are here in the UK. It's like, especially if you're outside of the Premier League, there's a much more of a kind of like a community feel about your local team. And you kind of where you're born in the UK, you tend to pick your local team, and that's kind of it really. You seem to stick with that team, and I see college football and college basketball in the US is probably very much more similar like that. Glyn's quietly waiting on Armada and Warcry and Blood Bowl. So what's the Blood Bowl season 2? Do we know what the main differences are yet? I know they've changed. There's a throwing stat now, isn't there, that they never used to be. But is there much else to it in season 2? I must admit, I don't keep too close to Blood Bowl these days. Other than now that I've got Blitz Bowl, I keep a bit closer to what the teams are, so I can potentially pick them up for Blitz Bowl. So let me just do my little silent bit where I concentrate on not screwing up those bits too badly. We'll paint the back of that kind of crown thing. That's it. And then these kind of like cheek pieces. That's that. And then I think we need to do some skin tones. We need to do the hair. We need to do this, whatever this is, lightning bolt and fireballs. And then I think we're ready for a bit of a wash over the top of that. So I think we'll come in with some skin tones here. And for that one, I think we kind of want to keep it light, don't we? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll come in with Cadian flesh tone, and then that'll wash down a little bit. Jason Mickley's an Ardberg. Paul says, you're an Isla man. I don't mind a bit of Lefroy. Have a triple wood in the cabinet. You should go and look online so you can see the Lefroy opinions welcome tiles. I will do, mate. Thank you very much. Paul Cotterill, nice to see you, mate. Crabby saying, no, what the hangout is missing, my vocal talents. If you're just going to come on and sing, mate, my God. Phil says, as people on the Discord is one of my favourite places to see commentary about the hobby. I genuinely love being part of it. I must admit, mate, I love the Discord. It feels like the best, like, it is definitely the place where I just love to go and hang out and just chat. It's not even chat hobby. I mean, we do chat hobby, but it's chatting to hobbyists, because Twitter is a cesspool at the best of times when you're trying to kind of have conversations. It's not easy to keep a track of those conversations either. Facebook, unfortunately, isn't a place to have conversations. It's a place to kind of to comment on something. It's really difficult to have a conversation on Facebook, I find. And I just find that the Discord is just, I mean, it might be because obviously there's a limited number of people in there, so that makes it easier to keep a track of stuff. But I just love it. It was, yeah. I'll always be grateful to VJ for recommending that. That's what I did, because I'd never used Discord before in my life. I didn't have a clue what it was about. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to integrate it. And it was he that was saying that basically he uses it for other groups he's member of, and it works really well. And so I said, oh well, I'll give it a try and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, very very quickly I realised it was the way to go. Paul says, I'm a Patreon of Arch Villain Games for 3D printing STLs. They do some amazing sculpts. Yes, support your creators and support your kind of the people that you enjoy watching. It's what I think what people forget is that even at like $2 and stuff, which might not seem you might think I'm not wasting my time kind of supporting at $2. It makes a huge difference to people like me, because all those $2 mount up. If everybody that said I'm not pledging because I'm not wasting the $2 is not worth it, if all them people said that, I wouldn't be able to do this full time. And the other side of it as well is that What was I just going to say? It means more than just the money. It's the fact that people are supporting your work. It's sometimes it's more than the money itself as well. So whether that's me or any other creators that you pledge with, like, I'm kind of speaking on behalf of all of them really here, but they appreciate your support more than you can ever imagine, I'm sure. Where are we up to here? Krabby's saying, what's the Tamiya red on your shelf there, mate? It is Tamiya clear, mate. So I use it for blood effects. It goes through, it's quite a thick paint. Let me just, it's like a, oh, of course the top sealed on it now, but it's, yeah, Tamiya clear red, mate. And it goes on as it's quite a thick paint. And it goes on really nice. It was what I bought before things like Blood for the Blood God was a technical paint. That was what I used. So I use it on all of my Walking Dead models and stuff. And yeah, it's a really nice kind of blood paint. Right, we're just gonna paint in the skin tone here. Again, this is just getting the base on, but it will be all tidied up and stuff. It won't look as messy when it's done. Bit of an elf there, so he's got them kind of pointy ears to the back. Bit more on the arm there. I think that'll do. That's it. Now, I also want to. I think I'm going to use contrast paint on these kind of lightning bolts and weapons and stuff. Hair, I think I need to, let's go with a shabby bone, and then we'll be able to wash that down a little bit. Phil's in Death God Codex is December. Yeah, I thought it was later on. Where's that one gone? If I can find it again. Death Guard Codex is December. We'll get the Space Marine one and the cards come payday. We've got Necrons on release. Nice one. Krabby's made some progress on it today. Phil says, anyone watch Donna do the Midwinter Challenge? What's that? Love what you do with the Primaris boys. I've seen quite a lot of Donna Howell stuff. I must admit I haven't seen I saw the thumbnail for it, but I've never watched it yet. But I saw that she'd done like a collaboration thing with Guy and Penny. So I'm not quite big enough yet for anybody to want to do collaborations with me. One day somebody might. Once I'm in the cool kids club. I think the problem I've got is my channel is different to most others. Like there aren't many channels that are kind of more community focused or kind of cover lots of different games that are not 40k, or like some of them are more painting focused, like people like kind of like Donna, people like Miniac, or the terrain focus with people like Luke. So yeah, my stuff's kind of all over the place, and it's much more community focused. So I don't think my stuff really kind of really fits with their kind of collaboration type stuff. And I ain't the kind of, I tend not to kind of reach out to kind of random strangers, which is maybe my own fault. Maybe I need to start doing that. Who knows? One day. Busey saying that Tamiya red looks like it's got a fire warning label on the side. It has, mate. Yeah, just right there, flammable. Marcus been assembling Gargants. Blizzard is looking forward to his Warhammer Underworlds. Luke finished his mini swap, a nice one. Marcus says, would love it if GW combined the Tyranid and Genestealer cults as one codex. Do you know what it is, mate? It wouldn't surprise me if it gets to that point one day, because there are a lot of similarities kind of that would fit with that. It would not surprise me if that's the way it went. VJ's got a new Kings of War and Armada on his Christmas list. Nice one, mate. Sounds like a nice Christmas for you. Probably see I like the idea of heavy intercessors and bike chaplain. I need some Invicta suits and tanks to fit my army narrative, to be honest. I like the fact that you're just building a narrative army, mate. Like, you're just building the models you like and kind of just picking up a theme in a story. It's one of the reasons I love looking at to see what you add to it. Because it's almost, I mean, yes, you can play the models, but like it's almost, playing them is almost irrelevant at that stage. Right, we'll let that dry out a little bit, and then I think we'll come over it with a wash. And then we'll do that. And in the meantime, I think what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of work on, let's crack on a little bit with Sulka. Let me just have a look at my reference shot I've been working from. There it is. Right. So we're going to go with a Rhinox hide for the hair, but I want to put a little bit of purple into this brown as well. Tony saying the Polish guys had the mini that I wanted. They do some great stuff, and they're worth looking at if you're not playing a competition level as an alternative sculpts. I'll have to check them out, mate. Necron Wise looking at grabbing a couple of more the painty type units. There's some really nice looking models, mate. Like the Silent King, or the Catan model. I'd be tempted to just to paint them basically. Age of the Atom, hello, mate. Says question for the chat: when it comes to getting into a new game, how much of a barrier to entry do you find new skills to be? Does the prospect of needing to buy new terrain stop you from jumping in? For me personally, mate, it was a barrier for me talking about Marvel Crisis Protocol. The scale was at the time was talked about as being like a different scale, being a bit bigger. I think you can kind of get away with probably like normal sort of 28, 32 mil terrain, but it was a consideration for me back then. Since then, I've kind of realised that actually in the grand scheme of things, I don't play nearly as much, especially in the current situations. I don't play nearly as much as I would like to. And actually, when it comes to a game, if something looks nice enough that I'm interested in it, then scale becomes less of an issue. And actually, I would, I'll worry about that if I enjoy the game enough to start buying more things. So yeah, it to kind of answer your question, it depends really. It can be a barrier, but I really have to, and it's something I'm becoming more aware of now, especially because of the current lockdown restrictions and things. I'm becoming more aware of actually how much of my hobby is gaming and how much of my hobby is everything else. And actually stuff like scale creep and things is less of an impact now, I would say. So I hope that helps answer your question. I don't know what anybody else thinks. Carrie says, also early at the minute, potentially moving to Nottingham. Wowzers, mate. That's a left field there. Is that with work, buddy, or is there something else driving that? Luke was saying what's going to be changing with Blood Bowl. Yeah, I think one of the things they've done is that what used to happen in Blood Bowl was when you were throwing the ball, it was based on your agility stat. And what that meant was things that were quite small and agile, like rats, ended up becoming better than a specific throwing model. So they've realigned it now, so there is actually a throwing stat now. Other than that, I'm not really sure. Kerry Caudle, hello. Says different scales are a huge factor for him. If my terrain will not work, I'll avoid a system. Yeah, like I said as well, I think it depends on how much you play. To be honest, terrain is not the most expensive part of a game, so I don't mind. And I like terrain as well, to be fair. So sometimes it's quite nice to do something different. I must admit, I was watching, I think it's Mini Junkie, I think his channel's called, and he was painting some of Corvus Corvus terrain, which is like STL files that you can print out yourself. And it was the one that looks like Doctor Strange's building. He's one of my Patreons. He's sometimes in the chat. I don't know if he's around tonight. But yeah, like and that terrain looked fantastic. And obviously the beauty of having like your own 3D printers and stuff is you can scale the terrain up and down as well just by adjusting the size before you print. So that's a consideration if you've got printers and stuff like that. Just getting there into that bit. VG saying his iPhone seems to have dried out okay, but probably need a screen replacement. Parts of the touch screen are very touchy. Oh dear. Have you not got insurance, mate? Can you not claim on the insurance for it? Or are you not due for an upgrade or anything like that you can trade it in? Marcus says that I'm still not a great at painting faces. Me either, mate. Paint and pink and wash it. That's pretty much it. William Jones says Facebook is an inefficient notice board. Yes, exactly. I agree. Jason says off to soccer practice. See you all later. Take care, Jason. Enjoy. Scott saying he's a Patreon of Asgard Rising. All the sculpts are pre-supported. Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about when I was talking about 3D printing, mate. Actually, was that like there are options where I don't have to worry about kind of looking to kind of to be an expert with supports and stuff. Scott saying Tamir Clear should be in everyone's arsenal. I agree, mate. I agree. Different Gear says X27 sounds dangerous. Yes, it does sound dangerous, mate. So dangerous it won't even open. It's almost like kind of like a lacquer. It's a weird kind of paint. And yeah, it's just kind of quite well stuck the lid to the bottle or something at some point, or at the moment rather. So yeah, I'll get it open another day when I need it. Kirby says X27. It's because it says X20. Oh, let me scroll. It says X27 on the bottle, mate. That's where it was from. VG says the Agent guys are keen to collab. Yeah, I'll have to reach out, mate. We've spoken really briefly in the past, but we just never really got round to it. Really, we'll have to try and find some kind of common ground and do something, mate. Because I'm keen to as well, even if it's just for somebody to talk to that doesn't live in my house. The art of conversation. I've become very adept over this COVID stuff. Of having one-way conversations because of all the streaming that I've been doing. We've also got Movember as well next month, which is the men's health charity, and I'm considering doing something for that. Whether it's kind of like a stream thing, or do I do it would I stream every day for a month? To try and for charity or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think what's achievable and what I can commit to. So who knows? We might do something like that next month. And as I said before as well, it's my 4-year anniversary of YouTube next month. I can't believe 4 years ago, almost to the day. Well, 4 years ago to a day. I had never made a YouTube video before in my life, and here I am now. Basically, this is what I do for my living now. So it's weird how things change, folks. Phil saying, yeah, that's why we're here. It's not for a specific game or for painting or golden demon quality minis or 5 posts a day or commenting on the latest 40k. It works and it'll grow. Yeah, that's kind of the way I see it, mate. As long as I can keep consistent and as long as I keep kind of doing what I'm doing, it should find its audience. Basically, it's hard because there's so much out there and there's some amazing channels and stuff like that, and then there's some channels that are huge, and I'm not even I'm not even sure exactly why they're huge, really, if I'm perfectly honest. For some of them, it's like they make good content, but I see channels with like 100 or 200 subscribers that I personally think are more interesting than some of the big ones. But it's different taste, isn't it? Everybody likes something different. The problem is around my kind of size, especially on the content that I do, there's not a lot of other channels. Like, the channels either are kind of smaller than mine because they haven't been going very long, basically, or because it's slow going, a lot of them tend to quit and just give up. So they might get a sort of 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers over a period of time, and then just think, it's a waste of time. This is taking me forever. I'm just not growing fast enough or whatever. And then you get other channels that cover some big games, and they end up like 20,000, 30,000 subscribers and stuff. So trying to find a channel that's around my size that wants to kind of like work on something together can be quite hard, really. So yeah, the agents guys is probably perfect. It's just a shame we can't do stuff face to face at the minute. Right, that's done the hair on that bit. I think what I'll do is I'll paint the gold on the rattlesnake tail part, and then we'll go back to the original model. Luke says, I really want to use Discord, but whenever I think about it, I feel I have so much to catch up with the chat, I decide not to bother. To be honest, mate, half the time, like, because I'm obviously like work, like it was different when I used to have a full-time job, like a proper job, if you like. I basically, because they're just paying me money, I kind of skived, didn't I? And I used to spend time chatting in the Discord with everybody else. The difference these days is that if I don't do work during the day, nothing gets done. Like nobody else. Like, there's not a single person in the world anywhere that is doing anything for my channel at the minute, like, other than me. So if I spend all day chatting to you lot in the Discord, I'll never get any work done. So I have to kind of like pick and choose when I can spend a bit of time in there, really. But what I would say is I tend not to worry about going back and trying to catch up on the chat anymore. I kind of look to see what the current conversation is, and I'll just dive into that one, really. I'll drift in and out that way. So never feel like you have to kind of to catch up on stuff. Just drop in and out, basically, when you've got time. But yeah, it takes some adjustment not having somebody paying you a salary, so you can just skive off and surf the internet and all that kind of stuff. Cabby says, I think you'd be really good at interviewing people, mate. I'd watch that. I actually quite enjoy doing interview stuff, to be fair, mate. And actually, I did one on Monday. So Battle Systems, the guys that made Core Space and did all of the fantasy terrain and stuff recently, they've got a new Kickstarter coming soon, which is like it's like another starter set for Core Space, but it's a standalone. So if you've already got the original Core Space, you can still buy it and it'll work as like an expansion, if you like. Or if you've never bought Core Space or ever played Core Space, it's got everything in that you need to play. So I spent a couple of hours on Monday having a chat with Colin from Battle Systems, and I've spent the last couple of days I had to do it over like Skype, and he had camera set up at his end, and I was obviously had my stuff, so I'm having to kind of try and stitch everything together into a cohesive video. So that should be coming up tomorrow night if I get it finished. If not, it'll be up on Friday night. But yeah, I quite enjoy the interview stuff. Unfortunately, because wargaming isn't that huge, and then you then factor in, if it's not Games Workshop, it's smaller again, and then you then factor in people who want to watch interviews is smaller again. They never really seem to do very well views wise, unless it is advertising like a game for Kickstarter or something like that. So unfortunately, they don't do great. However, I do really enjoy doing them. I'd love to do some kind of like like documentary type thing. I think actually, you know, like taking like a classic game or something, or taking a particularly famous game designer and kind of charting the kind of their life in games or whatever, or something like that. I'd quite enjoy to do something like that, I think, at one time. But the problem is those kind of things take so long to do and to plan that I'd almost put everything else on the channel on hold to do that. So it might be one for the back burner for future. Krabby saying, put the standard flesh tone down on that first, then mix a little of the purple you want in and highlight with the mix. Yeah, I think we're talking about flesh tones, mate. I'll let that dry and then I'll come back to that, mate. Potentially a new job. See how it pans out. Oh, fingers crossed for you, mate. Anyway, I hope whatever you want, mate, whatever's best for you. I hope that's exactly what happens, mate. John Estel said his internet's rubbish tonight, so I'm as far behind as Andy. I think I've actually caught up a bit, actually. Have I caught up? Yeah, I think it's obviously because the chat slowed down, I think. Robson, going to go to the store with the missus. Take care, mate. Luke's in his Movember started big time this month. Well, mine's already. That's kind of mine doesn't. I've found out. I mean, it's not like it's new, but like the hair in my kind of like my facial hair is really wiry. So it's better if I kind of keep it quite short like this, because as soon as it starts to get long, it doesn't it doesn't grow into like a nice kind of like sort of bulky beard. It kind of juts out at all sorts of weird angles because it's like bits of wire. So yeah, I'll be keeping my beard pretty short. Thordlum's in as well. Good evening, Thordlum. Tim says a more mini swap, £2 a mini, must have a tosh. I like that idea, mate. Tasty Brain Dreams, I like the Men's Health Month idea. I'd definitely try to donate to that. Yeah, and I need to kind of give it some thought, really, and see how best to do it. But even if we do, I will definitely, at the very, very least, do like one live stream dedicated to it, and any kind of donations that night. Obviously, after YouTube take their cut, we'll go to the charity. But we'll definitely, at the very least, we'll do that. It's something I'm a huge supporter of, the men's health charities. So, Tony saying a Discord Movember. Yeah, Marcus, I tell you what we could do, mate. If the folks in the Discord want to do a bit of charity tash growing. Marcus says, one of the things I notice is like some of the gaming streamers are sometimes not even that good at playing video games and simply watch to laugh at them. So that might be a reason that they're popular. Yeah, when it comes to like video, video game streamers and things, you don't get a lot of streamers or live streamers when it comes to tabletop stuff. I mean, to be fair, when I first started doing this, and I've been doing streaming for over a couple of years now, everybody told me that I should never do streams. They said it'll kill your YouTube channel. The algorithm doesn't like it because less people watch the streams than watch a standard video. And I kept doing it because I enjoyed it, really. I wasn't worried about kind of trying to grow the channel at that particular time. It was the bit I always enjoyed the most, the kind of community aspect and getting to know people and kind of hanging out like this. So I just kept at it. And to be fair, it's kind of served me quite well, the live streams. And I'm glad I stuck at it. I mean, there was Monday's live stream just gone. We had like 174 people in. Like, outside of somewhere like sort of Uncle Adam and Tabletop Minions, there are very few people get anywhere near kind of like 170 folks like coming in for a live stream. So I'm kind of proud of how those streams have grown. And yes, that was a particular topic that will have brought a few more people in, but like, we've got 62 people tonight. 62 is a good number for a Wednesday night, just kind of hanging out watching me paint and talking crap. Like, I'm really proud of how the live streams have gone. When I was talking about bigger YouTubers and some people with like sort of like over 100,000 subscribers, there are some people with that kind of numbers. It just makes me think, like how on earth did they get to that size? Because personally, for me, their content isn't isn't fantastic. It doesn't make them bad people or anything like that. But I see some people with like a lot less subscribers. Like as an example, MS Paints. I thought his channel would blow up. I think he's a really kind of he's a really interesting guy. He's got a really nice kind of presenting style on camera. His painting is really good. He's called MS Paints because he's got MS, and basically he talks about kind of like comfort level for people with like disabilities and stuff. And he's got a bit of comedy in his videos, and I thought he would absolutely blow up. I think he's got a great channel, and at the minute he hasn't. I mean, that's not to say that he won't in the future, but at the minute it's it hasn't kind of blown up, and I watch his videos kind of religiously, really, like over a lot of channels with much bigger subscriber bases. Right, we're going to just wash this down. Peter saying the point is someone can watch you stream on a topic that might not interest them and still have a good time because of the back and forth in the chat and the stream. That keeps people logging on. Yeah, I tend to agree, mate. I do tend to agree, and there are people that that do streams. Like for example, as VJ mentioned there, the Agents of Sigmar guys. I don't play Underworlds, so a lot of the stuff they talk about kind of goes over my head. Really, I mean, I understand the game, but I'm not up on the tactics and things. But I like the two of them, and quite often when they do their Tuesday streams, I'll just put it on in the background basically, and just like I won't necessarily kind of like join in and chat, but I kind of have it on in the background and just listen, and it kind of in the same way I guess like for you folks having this on as background chat really. Sometimes it's just nice for me to switch off and listen to somebody else. So yeah, I think they do a great job. Luke's in having a chat. He said, I wish I used Discord more when I did not give a toss about my job. Not the case anymore. Yeah, exactly, mate. That's exactly where I was. I'd be on Facebook all day. It's a completely different kettle of fish when it's just like I don't give a toss. I'm getting the money is going into my bank at the end of the month, whether I put in extra effort or not today. So I'm going to have a day chatting with my mates online. When you're working for yourself, mate, or you've got a job that you do actually really enjoy, and especially a new job, yeah, it becomes a bit of a different kettle of fish then. But yeah, like I say, like if I spend my day chatting online, then nothing gets done. So I do drop in every day, and I try to always make sure I kind of sort of join in the conversations and check out what people have been painting and things. But yeah, quite often I'm not as active as I would like to be in them. Phil said, have you thought about doing a sofa show with 2 or 3 people just chatting about different aspects of the industry? I have, mate, actually. One idea I've got that I've always wanted to do was to do kind of like a breakfast show on a weekend. A little bit like what Beasts of War do with their weekender, but obviously theirs is filmed like on a Friday. But like a live Saturday morning breakfast show type thing, where people could kind of tune in while they're sitting having a coffee on the morning or something like that, or watch the catch up later. And that was kind of that was something I wanted to do, but it was the practicalities really of it. Did I really want to do the whole thing like by Skype type stuff? Obviously the like lockdowns and stuff means I can't have people to visit. I can't visit other people. But yeah, I've got ideas of stuff I wanted to do. I had loads of plans of things when I knew I was going to be doing this full time that just unfortunately have kind of been put on the back burner because of the current situation really. But I'll get there at some point. Marco says the Highlander board game was on Amazon today for £22. It looks like your review was pretty accurate on the gameplay quality. Yes, it's funny. People seem to remember that one. I had a less than glowing review of the game, I suppose. But yeah, it's funny that seems to be one that people seem to remember that I didn't particularly like. Where am I looking for it? Sepia. Luke said, I think Andy would be a great interviewer. One of the problems is some of the people that you would want to interview do not make the most of the most exuberant interview guests. Yes, I know, to be honest, mate. It's really nice when you do chat to somebody who is genuinely interesting, entertaining, and kind of like, and the easiest ones are the ones where I hardly have to say anything. I've been so lucky in the interviews that I've done for the podcast that I do for Patreon, that everybody, starting with Christian as well. Christian was not only was the first, he was my guinea pig as well, because I had never done a podcast or anything before. I hadn't done a great amount of interviews before either, and it was just Christian was just dead interested and made it really easy for me. Really, I mean, I did the first one with my wife, but that didn't count really. We were sitting with a glass of wine having a conversation. Christian was with my first kind of like over Skype and stuff interview, and the other ones have been the same. Chatting with Dan, chatting with Luke. I just find it. I've been fortunate to chat with some interesting people, and I've done a few interviews with James Hewitt as well, who wrote the Hellboy game and Silver Tower and Blitz Bowl and that kind of stuff. And I find him massively like entertaining to chat to as well. He's just got loads of energy, like loads of enthusiasm. It's just nice to interview people who kind of have lots to say and want to be interviewed as well. Not everybody does, I think. Some people see it as they have to do it. Peter says here, where did that mini come from? Yeah, I was just doing a swap over, mate, while I was waiting for this one to dry. Luke said, mine's really wire-like too. I found oil did a great job. 2040 works. I've tried oils, I've tried bombs and all sorts of stuff, mate. James said, I know it's daft, but I'm nervous about starting Blackstone Fortress on Saturday. If I love it, not being able to get the expansions will really suck. Well, do people not sell the expansions once they've played them, mate? Is there not much of a second-hand market for them? Tasty Brain Drain says, I would love to see some type of gaming documentary. Hell, I'd even be willing to help you out with that. My job is video editing. I never knew that, mate. I never knew that. I actually enjoy the video editing. I don't actually mind it. Like some people don't like editing part of it at all, but I actually quite enjoy the video editing. Right, I'm going to put... I think what we'll do is I'm going to go with Ethermatic Blue, and we're going to use this for the kind of like lightning bolt. Crabby says, I like the live stream randomness. Yeah, me too, mate. I like it too. It makes, like, sometimes, I mean, like anybody, I have days where I think, oh, I could really do with like a day off. I'm tired, I haven't slept very well, or I've not had a great day, or like, to be fair, like especially with like the lockdown stuff at the minute, sometimes I've not been in a very good mood, and I think like the last thing I want to do is come on like a live stream and like I could never just put on like a happy face basically and try and pretend everything was fine kind of thing. So I basically kind of, what you see is what you get type stuff. So, but like everybody, I have days when I think, I honestly can't be bothered. Like I need a day off type thing. But I kind of push through it, and I come on, and I know for a fact that once I get started, and it's like chatting with mates. It's not like work kind of thing. I get to just hang out and paint a model and kind of chat with you lot and have a bit of a laugh. So I always kind of force myself to do it if I'm ever in one of those one of them moods. But yeah, I just love the randomness of what we've got here. Ed Hanley, good evening, mate. How are you? Marcus says, sometimes it's fun being psychic. James says, if you're watching, why not subscribe? Andy's honing in on that 9,000th subscriber. I am, mate. Let's have a look and see where we're up to. And see if it's gone up any since I started today. It's gone up by a few. So I am now at 8,966. I am 34 subscribers away from 9,000 subs. Busey says, the gaming table build video is a classic though. That's where I found you. It's like, I think it's either my most watched or my second most watched video, mate. It is kind of a classic, really, to be fair. And the problem is, it's the kind of thing that I really enjoy doing, but I'm not a woodworker or anything like that. I don't have the tools. I don't really have the space to to concentrate on that kind of stuff. Like if I went down that path, I then basically attract lots of subscribers who expect me to be doing woodworking stuff all the time and doing kind of table builds, and whilst that might be interesting to do, I don't think I could do it forever. I don't think that could be like my main sort of channel topic, if you like. And also, they're expensive because I've got to buy all the equipment and stuff and all the bits and pieces. They're expensive to make. And what the hell do I do with all these tables that I build? I'd have nowhere to put them. So I'm glad it did well, and it gave me a little bit of a boost around that time. And it's one of those videos that gets views every single day. I've got a batch of videos that basically I know for a fact, if I went on holiday for a fortnight and never released another video, there's a batch of videos that would just keep getting views every day while I was away, kind of thing. And that's just something that comes with years of making videos. I've got 4 years worth of videos basically. I mean, how many? I think I've made about 400 videos now. Let me have a look and see how many I've got. I'm sure if I have a look on here, does it tell me how many videos? Let's have a look. If I go to my channel and go to, there's an about bit. Does it tell you on there? No, it tells me how many views. I think there's a I think it's on TubeBuddy. So milestones. So it says I've done 392 videos in just under 4 years. I'll probably have done about 400 by the time my 4 years is up. So that's on average. What's that? About 2 videos a week for 4 years. Like some of them are bound to do better than others. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's all interesting. Where are we up to? Scott saying painting done for tonight. Get some pictures and post in the group. Nice one, mate. Luke saying I really like MS Paint and he's clearly a great guy, but he swears too much. I swear a lot and I can't talk.
All right.
Owl Krabby pledge via Patreon. Thank you very much, mate. Mucho appreciated. Welcome aboard, mate. Nice to have you in the group. He swears all the time and it puts off British. To be honest, mate, you're right. I've kind of forgot about the fact that he swears a lot, and that can be like I can't watch him obviously if my little one's around. I tend not to anyway if the little one's around, but it's not something I'd want to leave on in the background, if you like. And yeah, I kind of forgot about that stuff. He does swear quite a bit. But like if he toned down the language a touch, like I find his content is really, really good. Phil saying Saturday morning swap shop, yes. Mark says, yeah, I could be online and screwing around at work if I enjoy losing a finger or a hand. Working around power tools requires more attention. Yeah, it's a little bit different, mate, when you've got a bit of a desk job or a bit of an office job. That's for sure. All right, I'm gonna put a bit of a sepia wash just across the skin here, just to give it a little bit of a tone. Just to tone it down, and we'll highlight it again. We'll highlight it back up again. Yeah. So, folks, we're at that stage where it looks like complete garbage. The wash is kind of on it, and it's kind of a bit patchy, and it's drying, and we'll get there though. But remember, last week we were at that stage with this model, and that's kind of how it turned out. So the whole thing here was covered with an Agrax wash, and then obviously I needed to highlight it up from there. But yes, and that's why when you see this kind of stuff online and everyone says, "Oh, you've done a good job of that," they don't see this bit really where it's like, oh, what on earth is he doing? Like, why does it look like that? So, yes. Let me just pop that one down to dry for a bit. I'll tell you what I am going to do, folks. I'm going to go to the main screen for a bit. I'm going to sit and have a drink for 5 minutes and just chill out with you. Let me have a look and see where we're up to. Mark says, yeah, it could be online. We just said that one. Peter says, I don't understand why some channels aren't child friendly just because it's not aimed at kids. Lots of hobbyists are young or watch with their parent. I think some people just, I have to say that some people are just themselves, and if they swear quite a lot, maybe that's just how they are. I personally don't really swear very much. I mean, I'm not a prude. It's not like I never swear, but I just wouldn't. I don't sit and swear through general conversation type thing. And I think maybe that comes a lot. It might come from being in office jobs and stuff like that. I don't work on a building site. I'm not around like a big group of kind of like blokes all the time. It might be just that, really, to be fair. Tony's saying, are we going to have a Christmas month fighting fantasy live stream? Oh, we'll definitely have a fighting fantasy either November or December. We'll definitely have one before the end of the year. Sally James. Good evening, Tiberius, by the way. Where are we up to? Peter having a chat there. Yeah, Peter saying, yeah, I work in a factory, seen some bad stuff happen, guys not paying attention. Yeah, I've seen it when working in factories as well. Scott says, I like the Highlander models, but not sure in the game. The models are not great, to be fair, mate. They're much smaller than you'd imagine. When you see them online, they're nice sculpts, but I don't think I'd want to paint them, mate. They were quite small. Seeing it's down to 20 quid. If you're going to buy it on Amazon, buy it through my link. Tiberius is saying, James Hewitt, not that one. Luke says, I love doing the podcast with you. Really enjoy doing podcasts. I want to do a regular podcast, but just none of my mates are into that sort of thing. I'd always thought about doing a podcast, but I don't. I mean, it's hard enough coming up with topics for live streams on a Monday. I don't know if I could kind of rack my brains to come up with a topic often enough for miniature gaming or for tabletop gaming. James is saying, I love that automatic blue, really nice paint. Yeah, I like it too, mate. I tell you which other one I've kind of fallen in love with recently is Talassar blue. I just love the colour of that Talassar blue. Peter says, if you really want views, do a show with two rivaling fanboy groups like AOS and Fantasy Battle, and you can be the Jerry Springer of war games. You can only do that so many times, though, can't you? I mean, one thing I tend not to do is I tend not to go for like controversial subjects, and that's not because I shy away from them. It's just because normally I like to have enough information about the topic I'm talking about to have a coherent kind of discussion about it. And I'm just not really into the drama and that kind of stuff, really. And I know for a fact that's what gets views. Like, sometimes I'll stumble across something that is more controversial than I thought it was. And those videos always do well. But I don't want to kind of be the drama guy type thing. Yeah, Mark's saying, take it from me, carpentry is not easy. It's not, mate, is it? Peter saying, just finished painting a Prussian landwehr model, wearing clogs and wielding a hay fork onto the basin. Nice one, mate. Vijay saying, getting some drips and drabs of motion graphics work coming through. So Bill's getting paid again now. I'm glad you're starting to pick up some work, mate. Nicely done. Vijay said, don't have a problem with swearing around my kid or them hearing it. He knows they're grown-up words that Nanny won't like to hear. I always feel, mate, that like Australians and folks from the northeast, I think, as well, and Scottish folks tend to treat like swearing a little less like it's a bit less important, I think, than some other people put kind of like on it. I don't know if it's just a cultural thing, like a regional thing or what. Krabby says, least I could do, mate. Your banter and general friendship has kept me sane over the last 6 months. Community has also been amazing. Want to play my part. Thank you very much, mate. That's massively appreciated. Jason says, those models look so awesome with some colour on them. Yeah, I always end up, I mean, what time is it now? It's like 10:20. I probably won't get it finished because it needs to dry and stuff. I probably won't get it finished on stream. And I always feel like one day what I should do is come on and do the stream from that point so you can see how I pull together the kind of like the crappy bit into the finished model, if you like. The Gaming Hall, hello. So I saw your post on Super Fantasy Brawl Facebook groups. Love the paint jobs. Can't wait to get mine painted now. Thank you very much, The Gaming Hall. Welcome aboard. Yeah, it's nice to kind of... when a new game comes out like that and everybody starts getting their Kickstarters around the same time, it's nice when there's a bit of buzz around it. Everybody's in a similar place. They're all painting the models up. And it's nice to kind of do something like this, do a bit of a live stream, a bit of painting, and just kind of hang out together and get them painted, really. Marcus said he finally just got his sewing machine to work. There was a massive string knot that jammed his machine. Ouch. Where are we up to here? Christian sharing a link for the t-shirts and hoodies. One thing I would say, folks, is t-shirts and hoodies seem to be selling like pretty well at the minute. Like I'm not selling like sort of like 3 or 4 a day or anything like that. But there seems to be a constant stream now. I think, first of all, thank you so much to Christian. The work he does kind of moderating the chat. What you don't all see is the amount of people that he's blocked, who've come in and said horrible comments, and I haven't had to read them. And also sharing the links out as well is what makes people aware of the fact that that's what pays the bills, that's what keeps the lights on, that's what means I can do this kind of stuff. So Christian, thank you so much, mate, for what you do. I think sharing those links, there's been like a nice little steady stream of folks have come in and bought something. I don't know who it was, but somebody bought a lot, all in the same night. So whoever that was, thank you very much. I'm not going to ask you to kind of to single yourself out, but however it was, thank you very much. Warwick Dark Edge says, as a teacher, I never swear at work or with kids. When I'm away from work, I have to get it all out of my system. I do get that, mate. Jacob says, there's a study that says swearing is a sign of intelligence. I've read those things as well, mate. It's something to do with the fact is that it's like an enhanced or enhanced vocabulary. It's like I've read a study recently as well about basically says that kids who lie is it's a sign of intelligence as well, because in order for children to lie, they have to tell you something that they've made up. They have to imagine something that didn't happen, and that's actually a sign of kind of intelligence in younger kids as well. Scott says, what's your link? I always buy stuff on Amazon. And then there's Christian sharing the link there as well. Thank you very much for sharing it, Christian. If you click on that link, there's a link that those links are on all of my videos. They're also in the Facebook group, I think, as well, in the pinned comments. If you click that link, all that happens is basically it redirects you into Amazon. You shop as normal. You don't pay any more money. It doesn't affect your shipping or your Amazon Prime or any of that stuff. And it just means that I make a small commission. Depending upon what you buy, there's commissions from like kind of 0.5% all the way up to, I think it's like 5 or 6% or something like that. But depending upon what you buy, I make a small commission for sending you that way, basically as an affiliate link. And if you take out like a free subscription to Audible, if you do that through the link, you get an audio book for a month. You get an audio book completely free, and you get to keep it forever. And I can't remember what it is, but I make a small commission for you taking that out. If you subscribe, get your free book, and cancel it, I still get my commission. You still get your free book. So yeah, there you go. Christian, thank you again for sharing the links, buddy. You're a legend. Jacob says, you mean you like to avoid a situation like the first presidential debate? I remember reading about it in the news, but I didn't actually see that presidential debate. Peter says, I only bought glue. Scott says, I must be coming up to my 6 months of Patreon now, surely. To be honest, mate, I need to set aside a day. What I tend to do is I tend to try and do a day every month where I try and catch up with with all the Patreon stuff, but I'm a little bit behind at the minute. So if anybody's waiting for the 6 months, I will get to it, I promise. VG saying, yeah, most Aussies are fine with a bit of swearing. Personally, I'd rather my kid be exposed to a bit of swearing and stuff than violence. Yeah, I kind of get that as well. Phil says, I went to look at Super Fantasy Brawl on their website, but I saw Reichbusters and had to hold close before my credit card broke. What says, I curse when I talk, but not really when I type or text. I'll say the odd kind of like, I will swear now and again. And I'll probably use swearing more in a comedic way than like an aggressive way. But I don't do it very often, I don't think. Christian saying, most welcome, happy to help out. It's still massively appreciated, mate. Like, it's just a huge help. You've got no idea what a help it is. Vijay says, the Phantom Down voter doesn't seem to be out today. He must be having a sleep in. Yeah, you will see from most of my videos, there's loads of videos have one thumbs down. Some of them obviously have a few more and stuff. But yeah, there's definitely somebody that loves to come and downvote on my video. Peter says, my kid must be a genius. Yeah, VG says, my little kid is a little sneaky, tells fibs all the time. Luckily, nothing important. Yeah. Looks like I swear like a Glaswegian dock worker, so I must be the exception to the intelligence rule. Peter says, just reminding the downvote to do his duty. Mark says, my friends find it weird that I'm well educated and not really an athletically active person, but I have a blue collar job. I think it's a mix of all sorts, mate, isn't it? And Scott says, you're excused, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's because the problem I've got is that Patreon is it doesn't tell me. I have to go in and check to see how long somebody's been a Patreon. So what I started to do was I started to put notes next to different Patreon members to say, like, their mug is due this time, the t-shirt's due this time, but then nothing reminds me, so I still have to remember to go back in and check through. So I end up like basically like with a notebook, like trying to keep a manual track of it. Really, it's not. I'm sure if I could spend a few days of actually sitting down and maybe going like in my diary and start put like in my digital diary and start putting like alerts in, like, right, 1st of September, 1st of October, so and so needs stuff. I need to start the kind of the admin, get the admin side of things done, mate. Phil says it's the downvote of Tiberius. I do hope so. Vijay says, and now he's gone again. Must be back. Oh, did it come on and then come off again? Peter says, I suspect that it's Christian. It might be. Tony says his Irish ex-wife used to swear in the middle of a word. There's a real skill to that, isn't it? Peter says maybe it's Andy's wife giving him a sign to wrap it up. somebody in the background like giving it this. Jason says, is bloody considered a curse word in the UK? Not really, I don't think. But I mean, you wouldn't want your kids saying it, but it's not a harsh word. It's like fart. Like fart generally isn't a swear word, but I seem to remember when I was a kid, I would have got like a clip around my lugs for saying fart. Fart was a swear word when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure. Marco says, fix the thumbs down, you're welcome. VJ says, Aussies are masters of swearing mid-word. Yes, absolutely, mate. Right, how's this drying out? Is it time to go back to it? I think we've... let's not rush it. Some of it's still wet. I'd only be destroying it if I go back and do it, I think. Is there anything I can do with this one? No, I'm just going to sit and have a chat with you for another 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. Finish my drink. VJ says we invented it. Wasn't it? Have I skipped over some chat? I thought I was reading something and I must have just missed it. I thought somebody was saying something about podcasts before. I must have skipped over it. Anyway, so yeah, so I've got another video coming later this week, which is a bit of a chat with Colin from Battle Systems. So that'll be this week. There'll have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos this week. The content's definitely starting. Like now, I'm getting into a rhythm and a routine. Next week, obviously, we've got half term, where so my little one's at home all week. So obviously, live streams will be on as normal. Any videos other than that will depend upon if I can get stuff done, like either around him or in the evenings and stuff as well. But yeah, I'll be on Daddy Daycare most of next week. Krabby says, I have this debate all the time. No problem with more swears, but the context is what's important. Yeah, I agree, mate. Sometimes it's kind of quite... You can get some like, aggressive swearers. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Will C, good evening, mate. Says, I'm excited for Gale Force 9 World of Tanks and Gale Force 9 Aliens, another glorious day in the core. Is it Gale Force 9 that's bringing out Aliens? I didn't realise that. Peter says, by the way, today's Trafalgar Day. Is it really, mate? I didn't know that. Tiberius says, it's not me. Thumbing down is telling YouTube that this is rubbish and I'm a no grass. It's, to be honest, thumbing it down is telling YouTube this video elicited a response from me. They don't care whether you're happy or disappointed. They want you to come and rant in the comments. They want you to thumb it down. They want you to interact with it. Because what happens is if a video gets loads of negative kind of attention, it's still attention. So what they'll do is they'll force it out to more people, and more people go, look at that video, it's had like 1 million thumbs down. It must be awful. I'm going to watch that to see why everybody's thumbing it down. So YouTube don't care whether you like it or dislike it. The only time they care is when you neither like nor dislike it, and you don't comment and you don't watch it all. That's when they kind of like, oh well, maybe it's not a great video or something like that. But it's interesting. Looks like I watched a preview finally about Aliens. It looks really good. I'll have to have a look, mate. I've not seen any information about it. Scott said he's currently on printing the complete Royal Navy fleet from World War II. Wow. Marcus says, is it for their new Kickstarter? It is, mate. Yeah, it's for Core Space Firstborn. So we had a chat about that, about what's included in it, what you can expect to see, who's aimed at, that kind of stuff. Ryan says, hey Andy, any idea when the next Armada video will be? No, to be honest, mate, I've been obviously locked down and all that kind of stuff. There's only me and my wife who can play it. We've had a couple of games to get to grips with the more advanced aspects of the rules, but it's finding the time to do it, mate. Unfortunately, obviously, with the little one and stuff. By the time we get him to bed on a night that I'm not working or weekends and stuff, it's just finding the time to do it, mate. And like I say, I can't play it with anybody else at the minute. That's the real stumbling block. But yeah, it's in the pipeline to do it. Jason says, watch any Rob Zombie film and you'll be sick of swearing. I do like Rob Zombie films, mate, to be fair. Krabby said, don't let kids use the word hate, for example. I think that word often does more damage than the swear words. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, mate, actually. Mark said his grandfather had a way of making you feel much worse than whatever you actually did. Yeah, my dad's like that. Tasty Brain Dress says, yeah, I'm excited about Aliens, another glorious day, so shut up and sit down, talk about it last night. Lucian, when you get a chance to, Shut Up and Sit Down channel, they did a preview for Aliens. Looks really good and has some interesting rules, not just another run and gun in corridors. So is it essentially a board game? It's not like a miniatures game like the old Protoss one, is it? Kirsten, a more videos bangs the table. You've just been hanging in the background, Kirsten, haven't you, waiting for somebody to talk about it. Now it's being brought up, you can come in and talk about it. For those that don't know, Kirsten works in the resin room for Mantic, and she makes all those fantastic ships. So there you go. Ryan says, no problem, I can understand that. Just got in from work, actually casting a mortar. Ooh, what have you been casting? Have you been? I'm assuming you've got a lot to do to get ready for that. But have you been casting? Let's have a think. You've been doing orcs today, by any chance? Luke says, is a board game much like Alien vs Predator Space Hulk. There's some familiarity to it, but I have done some interesting things. I'll have to check it out, mate. I'll be honest, I've heard very little, if anything, about it. Yeah, orcs and Basilians. Nice. Paul saying, Kirsten's the master caster who is driving the quality of Mantic's models up. I don't disagree with that, mate. Tiberius says, I was working in after-school clubs when the Harry Potter films were coming out. Every time a child said bugger, I'd go get the Oxford Dictionary and have them look it up. The best deterrent. Yeah, getting kids to look in books is definitely the best deterrent. Marcus says, I think my favourite book I own is a book that has a chapter about how pirates actually cursed. Wow. VJ says, excited for the Empire of Dust and Mortar minis. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel that because I've got the game here and I can play it, or certainly, I mean, I can't do any list building or anything. I've got 3 ships from each side, but it's like I'm excited for it coming out, but I'm more excited to get my hands on the stuff that I haven't physically seen in the flesh. So like for all I've played the game and I enjoy it, and I've got the privilege of being able to go, I'm really looking forward to it because I know what the game's like. It's seeing those orc ships, it's seeing those Empire of Dust ships, it's seeing the huge big is it the Empress? I think it is the big ship for the I forget what it's called now. The big one for the Basilians anyway. Seeing those big ships, like I'm in the same boat that you all are for that kind of stuff. Luke says, I was getting well and truly put off by the fact they were not promoting it during pre-order window. I just don't get some companies. I tell you, I don't understand. Some companies get marketing so wrong. VJ saying, how's that Armada back rep showing off Magic Common? That's what we've just been talking about, mate. It's getting time to film it with my wife, basically, mate. She's obviously got her stuff that she needs to do as well. Scott said, I'm going to start writing my own skirmish rules for a game. I thought about it while I was at work the other night. Do it, mate. Do it. Tony says, so YouTube have taken a kid going through the terrible twos and used that as an algorithm. Any attention is attention. If you assume that YouTube works on the basis of positivity and negativity are irrelevant, it doesn't matter. It's just about pure interaction. So whatever drives people to watch it, what drives people to put the thumbs up or put the thumbs down, what drives people to go into the comments and either say nice things or say horrible things, that is all irrelevant. It can be a cute video of a kid feeding a puppy, or it can be hate-filled anger. Those two things are treated exactly the same as far as YouTube is concerned. And if you're somewhere in the middle with a kind of like, I'm just sitting here telling you about something, it's a nice little kind of chat, it won't elicit a response of you being kind of overjoyed, and it won't elicit a response of you being completely angry. That kind of gets forgotten about, to be honest. Abyss, thank you very much, Kirsten. I don't know why that went completely out of my head there. Where are we up to? Paul saying there, yeah, credit where credit's due. Some of the recent models have been absolutely fantastic. Been following Mantic for a long time. I agree, mate, as well. I feel like I saw the resin stuff starting to come up with Vanguard, and from that point onwards, I think it's just been a different level, really. Blizzard saying, love two resin figs from the new starter. Fantastic quality. Kirsten just coming here for a bit of a pat on the back. That's all it is. Well deserved, though. Well deserved. Yeah, Abbas it is, yeah. Scott saying, if Mantic want to send some Armada, I'll do some unboxing videos and gameplay videos. Marco says, can we talk about Armada monsters now? Yeah, why not? So technically in the rules, there's nothing specific about monsters. However, in the scenarios, so there is a scenario, for example, where you have to try and capture the Kraken. So the monsters come in as part of the scenarios and stuff, mate. In the future, there may be more stuff in that, but there's so that like the magic and stuff comes in the form of, if you play something like Kings of War and you take magic items, it works a similar way in Armada as well. So you will take magic items to your ship, and that will allow you to do certain things, ignore wind, cast spells, all of that kind of stuff. So it's nothing mega complicated, and it was just that when we first recorded that first video, what it meant was there was a lot of stuff for Lou to basically track. Not only was she tracking damage and tracking damage and how the ships worked and everything else, she then would have had to track, and you've got this magic ability, and then you've got this named captain, and this named captain can do stuff. It was purely about just getting the basics right for that first video. So yes, we'll get there, mate. Where are we up to? Vijay saying, yeah, cool. Always have to get the missus to agree to a game when they're busier than you. Yeah, I was happy to hear she enjoyed Blitzball. She did, mate, yeah, she did enjoy it. Scott said, I've made some nice terrain for his naval games and for Blood Red Skies. Oh, nice, mate. I want to see that. Vijay saying, speaking of which, you up for a game of Blitz this weekend? Let me think, mate. I should be, yeah. We've got Friday night, we've got like an online Zoom call thing because we've got a couple of birthdays. It's my father-in-law and my brother-in-law. It's their birthday on the same day. So we're doing like a Friday like family thing. So I can't do Friday night, but we should be able to do something over the weekend, mate. Yeah. Drop me a note, mate, and we'll sort it. Krabby saying, should we all try disliking a video? See if it helps your metrics at all. I tell you what, man, it makes no difference to me. I ain't going to take it personally. Oh. Paul says, YouTube basically want advert clicks. Massive negative attention is still driving those precious clicks. Yeah, so I mean, YouTube makes their money through adverts, through advertising, and that's basically what they do. They want you to stay on the platform. So videos that elicit a response, be that positive or negative, and videos that then, so when you've watched, say, my video, if you then click on another one of my videos afterwards, if it's suggested to you, they see that basically that last video kept them on the platform, which meant they watched another video, which means they watched another advert, which means that kind of that's good. And they use all of these metrics in the background in some fancy algorithm that basically decides which videos to promote. There's all sorts of other things in there as well, like people pay to advertise their videos. So you'll see some of the big kind of like channels in America, like the Tonight Show and all that kind of stuff. If you look on the trending page, it's pretty much all kind of paid for type stuff. It's really hard to kind of to get into there, especially these days, and especially during lockdown time, like the COVID time, because a lot of those kind of TV shows have been pushing stuff through YouTube as well. It doesn't really affect me as a kind of like a small creator and stuff. It just makes it harder to get noticed. But yeah, essentially that's how it works. Basically, all they want is if somebody has been kind of moved enough to elicit a response, then that video is good enough to share to more people, basically. And that's why commenting on my videos is really important. Liking the video or thumbs down if that's how you feel about it. All of those stuff, you can really help me and help the channel purely just by commenting on videos, even if it's kind of, even if it's just like, enjoyed it, thanks, or not my cup of tea, thanks, whatever it is. Commenting on the video, liking the video, sharing the video, all those things, basically just put a few flags up to YouTube to say, oh, actually, this one might be worth sharing out, basically. That's how it works. Kirsten says, join Mantic to box the Vanguard Kickstarter and the resin persuaded me to stay. What a time to join. That for me was definitely kind of like an upward trend for Mantic from that point. Luke says, if we really get a wide box with magnetic surface, we can play the most challenging game of Armada in a play-by-mail system. Kirsten says, you're not entirely wrong. Tybee says, I've still got my Kings of War undead worm to paint up, but I forgot to get some wings. And that's resin. Kirsten says, just got in from a long shift. It's a long weekend and I'm exhausted. I can imagine you must be absolutely going 10 to the dozen at the minute. Thank you very much for everything that you're doing as well, keeping our hobby going. I'm pretty sure you should be getting the what's it called again? The key worker bonuses. Scott says, I own pretty much every game from Mantic thanks to this channel. I'm a massive, I've had my criticisms of Mantic over the years. I haven't always seen eye to eye with everything that they've done. But what I can't what I can't deny is that every game that I've played that's been a Mantic game, I've enjoyed. They just seem to they just seem to hit that sweet spot for me that is not too complex, easy to pick up, easy to teach somebody, easy to share, and the minis are always good enough. I mean, some of the older minis, if we go back 8 or 9 years, they weren't great. They haven't stood up the test of time. But the stuff in the last 5 years, I would say, kind of Walking Dead, I'd say maybe the last 4 years, Walking Dead onwards, I think, was a real turning point, I think. And then when resin started to kind of replace most of the metal stuff, I think it's just been a different level again, to be fair. Peter said, it's a crappy world where just normal good conversation is no longer considered interesting. Yes, mate, I agree. But, however, as I've always said, I'm not about to go chasing kind of views by negativity or by having kind of controversial subjects and stuff like that. I'd rather just have these kind of chats and keep the community in. I mean, we've got 54 people at the minute. That blows me away. Every time I come on here and kind of do a live stream and people turn up to watch, it blows me away. So I'm not going to be chasing negative stuff. Sometimes my kind of my titles might not clickbait, but they're intended to kind of to provoke somebody to say, oh, actually, I'm interested to find out what he wants to say. But they'll never be misleading. I'd never put barefaced lies in those titles and stuff. Peter says, yes, Andy forced me to start buying Mantic. Tony saying hi to Kirsten. Kirsten says, joined as a temp building sets and packing boxes for a mod. I helped out one day casting to cover it as 6 staff member and never left. I listened to your interview the other day with the guys from Countercharge, and it was really interesting actually to hear a bit of a behind the scenes. VJ saying, yeah, give you a shout, and he's off to give the little one to daycare. See you, VJ. Hope we'll get the game sorted for the weekend, mate. Tybee saying, smash the bell and become one of the Bell Yeah squad. I like that, mate. The Bell Yeah squad. Paul saying, get an interview with Kirsten if she's allowed. That sounds like a possible interesting story. Yeah, like I was just been saying there. Yeah, she's just done one with a podcast, mate. It was really good. Kirsten, yeah, thank you very much. It really means a lot. It's an odd mix of excitement for a modder and stress for the business. 6 days a week for probably 6 weeks. The busyness. I can imagine that actually. I mean, it's like it's one of those things where you want it to do really well. But then sometimes it crosses a line, doesn't it? Where really well is a little bit too well for the setup and stuff. But yeah, I'm sure you're going to absolutely smash it. Luke says, I agree. I've not played a game from Mantic that I dislike. They make great stuff now, and although you know a Mantic game, when you play it, they still all feel different to each other. Yeah, I'd agree. Scott says, anyone you know of any modern looking vampires or witches miniatures currently on the market? I don't. I couldn't. I was thinking of the new Malifaux stuff for Halloween, but it's probably not what you're looking for, mate. Tim saying, yeah, cheers, all beds calling. See you in the Discord. See you, Tim. I'm going to wrap it up soon myself, mate. To be fair, I'm a bit tired myself today. Horns fan there saying, just finished priming Super Fantasy Brawl figures. Wow, quality is amazing. The scale is actually really pleasing. It's nice, mate, isn't it? That little bit bigger to paint. Tiberius Dungeon Saga was it for me with Mantic. Saw that and was sold. I'm trying to think is there any games from Mantic that I've not played? I've not played Star Saga, and I've not played Warpath since it went to a second edition. I've played it at first edition. I've not played it at second edition. I think that's it. I've played everything else, I think. I've got like Project Pandora, like the old stuff, and I've got Dungeon Saga. I haven't got Star Saga, as I mentioned. I've got what's it called again? Mars Attacks. I've got Dead Zone. I've got not Blood Bowl, sorry, Dread Ball. Kings of War Vanguard. Walking Dead. Yeah, I think I've played everything except Star Saga, to be fair. Mark saying, yeah, hit clickbait. Yeah, me too, mate. It's you see it a bit less these days. I think people are a bit more wise to it. Ian saying, yeah, just sneaking in at the end. Hope you're all going well. Nice to see you. Somebody else asking about a mod about reps. I will get to it, I promise, mate. It's purely about getting time with my wife to play them. Obviously, she's got stuff that she's doing as well, and I can't get anybody else to my house to play them with our local lockdowns. Cousin saying, yeah, enjoyed the podcast. It was fun. Yeah, it was a really good listen, actually. Gaming Hall says, I remember the real old days of Mantic with Dread Ball and helping run open days. I used to go to those old open days. So I remember going to one when Warpath, I think the first one I ever went to was when Warpath launched. And I went to the Warpath launch day and took one of my sons with me down to Nottingham. And I remember sitting with Chris Webb, who was with Gollum Painting at the time. And they were doing little painting sessions where you could paint up some of the Marauder Orcs. Me and my son sat and did that. So I went to that first, and it wasn't at the Mantic HQ where they are now. It was like this little place in Nottingham. I forget where it was. So I remember going to that Warpath launch. That might have been the first one I ever went to, I think. Kirsten says, we're trying to produce somewhere in the region of 6 times the usual monthly output. Wow. That is phenomenal. I mean, it's great news for a business at a time when you certainly don't want, you want to be doing well. Great. Luke saying he's off now to watch more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Jason says, how's Star Saga? Yeah, just saying I've not played it. It's the only one I haven't played, mate. For no other reason than I've just never picked it up. Tibusian, hassle-free, have a Halloween 20% off code until 2nd of November. Thank you for sharing that, mate. Crabby says he's fallen asleep. Must be the wine. Yeah, I'm flagging now as well, to be fair. Jason saying night. Everyone's saying night to each other. Blizzard saying Star Saga is great. Highly recommend it. Scott says his 6-year-old loves playing it. And with that, I've kind of caught up with the bottom of the chat now. So I think what I'll do is I'll call it a night now. James is saying Carnivale has some good minis. Carnivale keeps coming back to me, that game as well, mate. Right, yeah, I'm going to wrap that one up now. Thank you everyone tonight for joining the chat. Thank you to Chris there as well, Horns fan. Thank you very much, mate, for joining the Patreon today. Thank you very much to Al as well for joining the Patreon. Thank you, Krabby, mate. And you'll see me if you watch it in the course-based video later this week. And I'll see you on Monday for another Monday night live stream. So I'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month. And there is lots of different tiers and bonuses, which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.